Peace to the saints. I got a DM from a young lady. I get a lot of these. And every now and then I have some time to respond to them. So I want to respond to this young lady because I think that this situation is very common. So I'm not obviously going to say her name or the name of the gentleman that she's involved with, but I will read the message. She writes, "Hello, Marquett. I'm writing seeking advice. This may be a long shot, but it's worth a try. My boyfriend is a saint," which lets me know that she's a smart lady. He's a smart gentleman, so I have respect. I think it's very important to be in community in general. That's what human beings need, is community and family. In fact, I probably should do a video on discussing the importance of family as something we seek as opposed to love. Love is an emotion, it's fleeting. Family is something that gives you solace and comfort and warmth year-round, 24/7. Anyways, she writes, so I say that to say, in community, people within your community will support you. So I want to support this saint and his lady. So anyways, she writes, his name is fill in the blank. I've watched some of your videos with him for a while too, but honestly, I always had an issue with what you've said about multiple women. I love my boyfriend a lot, and we have been dating since we were both fill in the blank with a low age. We've been together almost 4 years now, but recently I found out about his infidelity. Now, we know bro had to be doing some big lying, because if they're watching my videos together and she obviously thought he was faithful, she might have, every now and then you see something, and if the gentleman on screen is saying, yeah, you might marry 2 women, have a big family, and then, the woman, of course, she's going to turn like, well, what do you think about that, Richard? And then Richard's up here like, no, not me. Like, everything else he say is good, but that right there, nah, not me. She writes, I believe he is a good person. I trust that he is too. He's healthy. That's a good one. Handsome. That's a necessary. And honestly does have a lot of ambition. But it's been hard adjusting to what he did with other women. Now, I must concede, ladies, that what do you mean adjusting? You've been living under this condition probably for years, perhaps ever since you've known him, and it never bothered you then when you were ignorant. Now it's your mind playing tricks on you. Our challenge as human beings is to get in control of the mind. For example, I have something right now that I'm waiting on in 2 weeks, and rather than being anxious and anticipatory, I have other important goals that I'm pursuing. So it's deciding where you focus your energy. So I say that to say, you're dealing with something of your own creation unless he's brought you back, some drama from another woman, some unfortunate STIs or something like that, which doesn't sound like that's the case. So you're just dealing with creations of your own imagination. You have to get in control of your mind. She writes, it's been hard for me adjusting to what he did with other women. He says he still loves me, which if he does or doesn't love you, it has nothing to do with the other women. If he loves you, he loves you. The other women won't alter that. If he doesn't love you and he's saying he loves you, other women won't alter that either. So you have to know that how he feels about you is dependent on you. In fact, funny story, I was dealing with a woman for a significant amount of time, and she always had a paranoia that I would leave her due to another woman, which lets me know that she really never understood my wiring and my principles. And at the end of the relationship, I told her, I said, see, you didn't lose out on the relationship because of another woman. You lost out all because of yourself, all because of you. You screwed it up. No other woman screwed it up. So now think about it. You wasted years complaining about something that was fully within your control. So ladies, if the guy loves you, he loves you. If he doesn't love you, he doesn't love you. It has nothing to do with other women. It's just like saying, if I enjoy filet mignon steak, does that mean that I don't also enjoy lobster mac and cheese? No, they're unrelated. Anyways, and this is different for the female. There are probably some males who are closeted homosexuals or weak, effeminate beta males and won't admit it to themselves. And then there's women, which I'm not going to go into what that means, but then there are women. And they're like, well, if he can feel that way, can I feel that way? Well, if you do feel that way, carry on. You're probably a slore and you're filthy, but, carry on, do what you want to do. Anyways, gentlemen, I advise you don't ever deal with a woman who's not monogamous. That's a filthy cum bucket. Anyways, so the lady writes, but it's been hard for me adjusting. He says he still loves me. He never left me for them. He said he just wanted to try variety. And I guess I understand given we met so young, but I don't want polygyny. Now that's an unequivocal statement. Is that how you pronounce that? Unequivocal? There we go. That's an unequivocal. Like, you know what I mean. She's serious. Anyways, so she says, I don't want polygyny. And I'm looking at her English. Her English is very good. This is not a dumb girl. This is not an uneducated woman. This is a woman who's reasonably intelligent, resourceful, writes in great English. So she's probably an asset. She further writes, and he said he doesn't want polygyny either. Now, truthfully, he may be lying. He may be telling the truth. He may be lying. He might just want to have more intercourse with different women, or he may want polygyny. But the challenge, especially when one is young, is do you understand the self? Meaning, do you as a woman understand yourself and what's most important for you? Do you understand what the purpose of your life is? As a man or as a young man, do you understand yourself? Do you understand what the purpose of your life is? Do you understand your true nature? And so you may both not have the answer to those things. For the women, I am putting on a conference for women. We discuss these things. For the men, I have the Big Game Conference. It's going to be at the end of July. I highly recommend it. We're not just talking surface stuff. We're really digging into the things that impact your happiness and your life trajectory. Anyways, she writes, and he said he doesn't want polygyny either. He just wanted to try some new things and claims that he is done doing what he's doing. To be honest with you, ladies, I'd question that. I mean, just like, so you're changing your nature? I think it's improbable. It's not to say that he cannot comply. He perhaps can comply. But, frankly, women, I would encourage you to be with a strong man. And a strong man lives according to his nature as a male, as a man. And he doesn't live with your foot on his neck. You can, however, find a weak male, a beta male, who will live with your foot on his neck. He will be monogamous, not because that's who he is, but because you made him. And ladies, think about it. Do you really want a man that's doing something because you made him? That's weak. It's really weak. But some of you ladies are so mental that you do want a weak male. You're lost in a sick society. Anyways, so he said this. Now, frankly, I don't believe him. And this may change. Like maybe with old age, he might not have such an appetite. Maybe he did just want the intercourse. Like, for example, with me, I don't just want the intercourse. The intercourse is fine, but I want the large royal family to spread my DNA and propagate the higher number of good people in the world. And I want all of you who are good people to have large families. It is what is appropriate. And we have to counterbalance the low IQ imbeciles that are just having babies like rabbits. Anyways, she further writes, besides that, and he said he doesn't want polygyny either. He wanted to try some new things and claims he is done doing what he is doing. Mistakes of a young man. I'm just having trouble believing he loves me after knowing he had intercourse with other women. That's immature of you. That's awfully immature. You have a fundamental misunderstanding of male nature. Intercourse has nothing to do with love at all for males, especially when you increase levels of masculinity or testosterone. It has absolutely nothing to do with love. In fact, it's, at some level, it's just a biological function. Just like you go to the restroom, you blink your eyes, you breathe in oxygen. Sometimes you say, okay, that girl, she'll do. I need it in my life now. She'll do. It's like, and after you finish, you're kind of just like disgusted with her. You wish she would like disappear, except she's still there. So it's called PostNut Clarity. Why were you unclear? Because you needed to nut, which would let you women know that it's not about love. You might call it love making. Maybe that was a scam we created to trick you guys. I don't know. Who knows? It is intimate, but it's especially in the young male. We're talking about age 13 to 25. I mean, you really need it in your life. It's quite hard to control. And if you're a woman sitting there like, well, then be disciplined. Shut up. You're an idiot. And if you mean be disciplined, well, why don't you behave normally for the whole month? Impossible, right? So we don't ask you to behave in a sane manner like an adult the whole month. So don't ask men to go against their nature. We know that your nature is to be erratic, and our nature is to, especially the stronger of males, is to capture a higher number of females. Anyways, carrying on. She writes, I wish I had the key in so I could roll down my window. I'll just open this door. Anyways, she further writes, is it possible for a man to love you and do these things? Absolutely. Besides that, he has been a good boyfriend. Sis, like, don't ask for too much in this world. Like, there's a movie, an old movie, it's called As Good As It Gets. Think about how much things would suck for you to think that there's something better out there. You dump this guy you've been with since high school. You go out there, try to find another guy who's better, only to find out that the other guy's also a man, and he has largely the same nature, except maybe he's not as handsome. Maybe he's not as funny. Maybe you guys don't get along as well. Maybe he has a temper. Maybe he has a drinking problem. Maybe he has an alcohol addiction or gambling addiction. So you're going back into a marketplace where you're looking at advertisements. You're not looking at who the man is. You're looking at an advertisement of who he might be or who he's presenting himself as to get you, which is why I'm telling you, sometimes this is as good as it gets. You watch too many rom-coms and you try to fictionalize what a man can be based on your imagination. The male and the female, we are radically different. Frankly, half the time women are talking, and I don't care who the woman is, could be my own mother. And my mother called me last night. I love her to death, but she was congratulating me on something, and after that she starts going into womanly gossip, and I was just thinking, oh God. And I even put the phone on mute and had another conversation for like 2 minutes and then unmuted it. And I was like, that's wild. She was like, yeah, I know. And I was like, that's wild. She was like, yeah, I know. And women, in the view of rational men, are fairly narcissistic. She didn't even notice I stepped out of the conversation for 2 whole minutes because the conversation's about her. There's no real dialogue. There's no exchange. My mother's not unique. This is how most females are. And if you find a guy that you can get along with, meaning you have enough things in common, you might have a good deal there, because men and women are so different. So when you find a guy that you like him more than just having intercourse, you can spend downtime, you can collaborate on business items, you're not perpetually annoying him and vice versa, you might have a good deal. Like, there's not a lot better than that. So don't ask for too much is what I'm saying. I'm not saying you're not attractive. I'm not saying you're not good looking or smart. But be realistic. And unfortunately, you don't have enough people like me to counter the Disney narrative and to counter the rom-com and say, you know what? Guys are human beings, and they're not perfect. And you're not going to find a guy who's tall, rich, in shape, has a huge penis, and is sophisticated, funny, your family likes him, and he only wants you. It just doesn't exist. And frankly, for my own daughter, I wouldn't want that. Like, because I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I've been around human beings my whole life. I've traveled the world. I don't believe that guy. If a guy showed up and he seemed to be everything amazing on the outside and told me that he only wants to be with my daughter, I'd be like, why? Why? Like, my daughter's phenomenal, but why? Are you not ambitious? You want to go make millions upon millions of dollars. You want to add up the money, but in this one area of life, you don't want to add? You want to have multiple luxury cars, but in this one area, you just want one? Why? You're lying. Or you're homosexual. Or you're weak. Anyways, carrying on. Let's see, where are we? Besides that, he's been a good boyfriend. Probably should keep him. Which is why I haven't and don't want to leave. Then stay. But live in reality if you're going to stay. Now, if I were talking to him, I'd probably tell him to be honest with you, which I don't think he is being. He may be, but I don't think so. And that might not be intentionally. He might just not understand himself yet because he's young and inexperienced. So I might tell him to find out who he is, number one. Boss University helps with this kind of thing. Number two, tell you the truth. And then number three, based on how you receive the truth, decide if he wants to kick you to the curb or not. But if I were your father, I would say, Well, he hasn't done anything wrong. Does he have any vices or bad habits? No drinking, no alcohol. He exercises regularly. Good-looking kid, ambitious, like real ambition. I wouldn't trust your word for that because women don't know how to make money. But as a man, I would assess if he knows how to make money. And then I'd be like, okay, if he does, well, yeah, you better stay with bro. And if you wanted to not be with him, I'd probably be a bit disappointed and think you're going to end up with a weak dude. And I'm going to be rather unimpressed. But that's why I'm going to have a lot of kids, so I don't have to deal with that. Anyways, she further writes, he's been a good boyfriend. I really cannot complain much. Then don't. Which is why I haven't and don't want to leave. I'm just a crazy, insecure, anxious mess now. And I keep thinking he'll leave me for someone else. He'll only leave you if he's not a man of principle and integrity. If he is a man of principle and integrity, and I think you're in a bit of a problematic situation because you're the same age, that's generally not smart. I know you go to school and we're both in the 9th grade. Hey, we're both in the 10th grade. You're there, he's there, but that's actually generally not a good idea for a woman because you're at your age goes a little faster than the male's age. Some people might say you're maturing faster, not quite the case, but your age goes a little faster due to your biological clock. You're generally going to want a guy that's a bit older than you, and therefore he's going to have a little more sophistication, a little bit more focus and things like that. So an older guy, when he says, no, I'm with you, I'm signed on, you can kind of trust it a little bit more. If this guy leaves you, it's not going to be because of the other women. It's just going to be because he was lying to you and doesn't really want you. It's not the other women, it's you. And I think that's one thing women have a hard time dealing with. No one ever leaves an asset. You leave a liability. You gather up assets. You dispense with liabilities. Anyways, so I'm scared thinking he'll leave me for someone else. Anyways, any advice or words of wisdom would be greatly appreciated. Well, I think all of these words were wise, but the real question is not were the words wise. The real question is, can you handle the truth? Can you deal with reality? Will you make decisions based on what is appropriate and realistic? Or would you rather live in drama? Would you rather search for something that doesn't exist? Ladies, gentlemen, use the information below. Share your thoughts, questions, comments. Until next time.